Right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. I know we may have some also entering a little bit late, but thank you for joining today's webinar, Employers and Educators Building the Foundation of Work-Based Learning. My name is Abby Tibbetts, and I am the Work-Based Learning Program Designer with Iowa Workforce Development and the Iowa Office of Apprenticeship. We're glad you could join us today, and over the next hour, we'll explore how intentional planning connects students' academic goals with real-world career experiences. You'll hear both from educators and employers about strategies to build meaningful pathways that not only prepare students for the workforce, but also help employers strengthen their future talent pipelines. Before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. This meeting is obviously being hosted on Zoom. We will utilize the Q&A feature, so if at any point you have questions, please drop those in the chat, and we will be hosting questions throughout as well at the end if we have time. This session is being recorded and will be shared afterwards, so you can revisit any insights and share with colleagues. So before I wanted to give Jody Smith, who is the new Department of Education consultant with work-based learning and industry recognized credentials, the opportunity to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her background and position with the Department of Education. Jody.
Thank you, Abby. Hi, everybody. My name is Jody Smith. I am as Abby had said, I'm the new program consultant for work-based learning and then IRCs. I have been with the department officially 1 month, so not very long, but I just wanted to hop on here and introduce myself because more than likely I will probably be interacting with some or all of you to some form or manner with work-based learning or IRCs. Just to give you a little brief background on myself, most recently I came from the higher ed world, so I was most recently the director of career development at Central College. I was there for a couple of years, really headed the charge in internships, and all the things with career development. So working with faculty, students, and employers to help students obtain different opportunities. And then prior to that, I was actually at Iowa Western Community College, initially as an academic advisor, but then also was the director of their TRIO SSS program for about 5 years. Just really excited to get started with everybody and get working with everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jody. So just a quick review of our agenda, where we will begin with Cale Hutchings, who's going to talk from the Department of Education on connecting work-based learning to DCAP, and then we'll turn it over to Darlene Wagner with Urbandale Schools to walk us through how their district has built the foundations for work-based learning. And then finally, we will hear from Josie Stegman with Holmes Murphy to talk and highlight how business can use work-based learning to develop future community and industry leaders. So that's our agenda for today. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to drop those in the chat and I'll be taking a look throughout. And from there, I will go ahead and hand it over to Cale, our first speaker.
Thanks, Abby. Just wanted to take a little bit of time as we kind of jumped into level setting and kind of looking at the continuum of district, career, and academic planning, and connecting that, as Abby mentioned, to work-based learning experiences for students. And so as we kind of explore some of those introductory pieces, as we try to connect all of those dots, we really look at career and academic planning as that lifelong process. And Abby, if you want to advance, I think we've got a couple of animations on here, and we'll kind of give them all the information all at once. So we really want to kind of think about this as being a lifelong process. Obviously, it's terminology that you've heard before. Most folks joining the call do understand how different checkpoints along the way can build to those students kind of understanding the direction that they want to go, or at least the direction maybe they don't want to go as they're working through their goals. And so we want to kind of make sure that everybody understands that while you may be working in a specific world of that career and academic planning process, maybe it is that work-based learning coordinator, maybe it is that business and industry partner sort of working on those finished products, if you will. We do have and hope to have infrastructure in place that really sets the stage. So in that elementary phase, it isn't too early to be talking about, awareness and awareness of careers, and really trying to keep those doors open for as many participants as possible. In the middle grade world, for that district career and academic planning, and then on to the individual career and academic planning for those students, it really is focused on exploration. And that is something that districts will be working on to really highlight, to document in their individual plans, and the plans that they're working with students on, to really explore those careers, to offer miniature opportunities, if you will, offer some of the exposure and opportunity there. And then as we move into the high school setting, of course, this is where things do come together. This is where opportunities do present themselves to connect those students in form of work-based learning. And so the districts at that high school level are working to place those students, working on those career-ready practices, embedding those into classroom curriculum, programs, and content-specific areas through CTE and other avenues to provide that. And this is where a lot of us probably come in. But the idea is that it's always been there in terms of that student progressing through their formative school years. I'm going to go to the next slide, please. So I do kind of like pointing out this slide. This was provided by a colleague, and I did kind of smile when I read down through these because we've all had the conversation. We've all heard the motivational speakers talking about how we're preparing these students for jobs that don't exist, and but I've never seen a list like this. So I'm going to glean off of what was supplied to me by a colleague to say that potential careers in 2030. Obviously, none of these are probably maybe super established pathways out there for our high school students. So if you get bored at any time, you can kind of Google search some of these careers. I was very interested in what a rewilder would do, and so I'm just going to leave that to your Google search so you can find that one. But you can see there are a lot of components here that foundationally we may be preparing for, but sort of work-based learning activities are still definitely evolving. If you want to jump to that next one. And so that foundation of the district and career academic process really is trying to become inclusive. It definitely needs to be scaffolded as we're moving things forward. I think that's an important thing to think about as you are looking at it from a business and industry perspective on what's the background of these students kind of coming into that work-based learning experience. And then at the kind of the district planning process on what are we developing and what resources are we developing for those. So, we do a lot and promote a lot about, that student interest, the pathway progression, looking at data to make those informed decisions as you're putting these experiences together. We also want it to be definitely reflective in terms of what is the district doing to integrate into the individual student's career and academic plan, and what's that going to look like. Definitely that reflective piece needs to include things like employability skills, student strengths, all of those things that are listed on this slide, so they can find success not only with the skill set, but also that employability metric that is often hard to kind of teach and provide for students. And then, of course, the reason that we're probably all here is that integration, putting the pieces together, embedding it into the coursework. How is that process going to work? We've got some great examples of that coming up in this webinar. Um, Is it going to be system based? Is how do we package this within the school day? Opening up as many opportunities for those students as possible. We're thinking about the entire state, so we've got rural things to think about, we've got urban things to think about, and how those students will have access. And a really it's promoted as very much a district-wide implementation component for those plans that the districts are putting together. So there's a lot of work to assist those students in placing them in listening to their needs and developing their plans so they can be successful as they experience those work-based learning opportunities. And it all comes from a broader scope maybe than some might consider as we're looking at all the way down to the elementary level. Next slide, please. So just a couple things that we are looking at in terms of focus areas and things that have kind of bubbled up to the surface as districts have put together these plans. Maybe they've got some best practices in place. Maybe they've identified some room for improvements. And so across the state, I did want to kind of bring you just some interesting information that has bubbled up out of these career plans and how they've been assessed and looked at across the state in terms of key themes and trends. And so when it comes to those folks at the district level really working together to create this system, we see some key things, and these aren't new ideas, and these aren't new concerns or trends that by any means. So, how do we integrate with that curriculum? It is a challenge in some cases, and this is where those high flying programs can really be highlighted, really be replicated. So again, best practices here today, attending these webinars, getting that information. Um, you know, multiple post-secondary paths should be addressed. I think that's another a little bit dated, the thing that has been definitely highlighted over several years. But again, it does though bubble up to the top in terms of what the conversations these districts are having. Focus areas going forward, as you can see, curriculum integration and early career advisement. I think this is where we've done a little bit of work in the space of some new updates to the district career and academic plans in terms of middle grades career awareness activities and what districts are going to do and how they're going to be intentional about highlighting those opportunities for students. Team collaboration and role expansion. This is sort of sharing that workload of developing those plans at the district level and who's going to kind of be responsible for that. It's cliche, but it does take that village. And so a lot of people are going to be involved in that process. And then, of course, as we get more cycles of these plans included, as we really kind of refine and again highlight best practices, are we conducting those reviews, reflective feedback mechanisms? Do we know what's working? So as we kind of get ready to talk about some real examples here, I did want to kind of give, again, a brief background to those that maybe not necessarily at that DCAP level. To kind of understand the process in what it takes and the work behind the scenes to prepare that student for success. So without any more examples, without any more descriptions, we might want to see this in action, right? So I think that's what we've got for the next couple of presenters. And Abby, I'll hand it back over to you.
Sorry about that, Darlene.
Yeah.
Are you okay? I just can't see you on my screen. So
Yep, I'm here.
all right, take it away.
All right. My name's Darlene Wagner, and I am the Career Connected Learning Facilitator for Urbandale Schools. This is my second year. I mean, technically, I guess I'd say my first year at this position because my position is Career Connected Learning Facilitator, and last year it was Work-Based Learning Facilitator. So I guess maybe I'm new again. Some days I feel like I am. But technically, it's my second year in this position, and so I went from basically nothing, not that nothing was happening, but just nothing was like organized and in like much of a program yet to this year, which I feel like in a year we've accomplished a lot. And when I say we, there's a lot of people that I have to definitely give credit for. I'm a part of it, but there's so many other things that are a part of work-based learning and career-connected learning that besides just having that title. So I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of our school, our district, kind of the things that we're doing, things that I've done, things that have helped me. And then just, you have questions, feel free to ask. I always joke I could talk about this all day, but I promise I won't talk about it all night. So first of all, just talk a little bit of background about UHS and Urbandale schools. Our district has a little over 4,000 students in grades pre-K through 12. We have about 1,300 at the high school, a little over that. Our classes are a little bigger this year. 9th through 12th here at the high school. We have 4 elementaries, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and then we have 1 alternative program. So we don't have it's not a huge district. It's not a small district. We're in a great place. We're like very close to Des Moines. So we have all the benefits of all the, we're kind of in the middle of everything. So we're really in a great position. We have 4 school counselors here in the building. We have, we call our advisory connections, 77 connections teachers, give or take a few. We have 1 CCTC that we share with ADM. And then we have a lot of students that go to DMAC for programming. And then this year we have, so I was the work-based learning facilitator. And then we also, one more person to add, we did hire a work-based learning teacher this year. So that was pretty exciting because last year I spent most of the year kind of getting things started and getting courses approved and finding resources and applying for grants and all that stuff. And so now this year it's been a lot of, just in the last few weeks, a lot of things like now we're kind of starting, like the program is really kind of coming together here. So I'll be talking a little bit more about how that all happened. All right. So this is our district plan. So we have kind of what Kayla was just talking about with the DCAP, our plan for our district. We've called it Discover Your Path, Discover You. And so at each of the levels, elementary, middle school, and high school, we have a word that is associated with each. So launch at the elementary, which is the kind of the awareness piece. And we, like I said, we have 4 elementary. So the plan is that we'll be doing activities that each student at every building would be able to do. Everyone will have access to it. Doesn't matter if you're in a different building or you have a different teacher. We're going to really work on our DCAP to make sure that each grade level is doing the same career connected learning. It might look a little different, depending on, people are obviously different, but we want to make sure that everybody has that access to programming. So awareness at the elementary, and then middle school, that's where students will explore. So our plan is to get more of the career connected learning, like connecting the exploration that they did in the awareness that they did in the elementary to their what things that they're good at, things that they like to do, the skills piece, and then the plan then is to kind of use that information to guide them and when they get to the high school, and that's the SOAR piece where students will be doing more of the work-based learning. Still career connected learning all will happen at that level too, but our focus is going to be more on making sure that students are trying some of these careers, whether it be, doing an internship or a job shadow. Those are just a few of the things that we're hoping to do. Let me see. So at the high school and at the middle school, we have our advisory. So we really lean into that as far as getting a lot of our career connected learning information to students. So all students have a connections and they all will do their certain activities in Zello that they're doing. And then this year our schedule changed. So we have the opportunity to have an extra day. Usually once a month, we'll have an extra day where we do a career connected learning lesson. So like this Friday, we're going to work with the 9th graders. We're going to talk with them about career connected learning. And this is me and our high school principal. We'll talk to them about what career connected learning is. And then we have a activity where they're going to look at, what's the difference between doing a career connected learning in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. And then they'll pick goals for each of those grades, and then have a little reflection at the end about, how is this information going to help you, pick a career, or what did you learn today, that kind of thing. And so that's our plan, to just kind of introduce all of this to students. And then while we're doing that, then other grade levels will each have their own career connected learning lesson too. So we'll do a lot of that. The middle school is also using Zello, and they also have extra days. So they're going to be doing some of the career connected learning there too. Their counselors are working on that. And our high school counselors obviously are a huge part of, they're the Zello masters, I guess I would say. They know way more about it than I do. But they're the ones that they're planning all the, doing a lot of the lesson planning for Zello. We also kind of lean into trying to just get more of the career connected learning into like our CTE classes. That one is kind of an easier one because there's a lot of connections between careers and businesses and some of those fields. But we have kind of, we're kind of migrating over to other subject areas. So like we've got some career connected learning. We have a unit in one of our English classes that seniors take. We have a unit in one of our math classes. We have, the plan is to start doing some more, trying to not necessarily say there's have to be careers, but thinking about like, not everybody's going to go into a PE area for a career, but everybody's going to use those skills somehow in their post-secondary success. So whether it be, some of them will go into something related to, physical therapy or an athletic trainer or a coach or something. But other people, maybe it's more of a, these are the skills that will help you after you graduate to find resources, to make sure you're taking care of yourself, having a work-life balance, dealing with stress, all those things. All those have to do, it loops right back into our post-secondary success, our life ready, career ready, college ready. And so, it's DCAT, but then it's also all of the other like things that we want students to have in order to be successful after they graduate. So we've kind of combined, yes, it's career things, but it's also life and life and, post-secondary success. So we'll do that. And then let's see, our CTE, we have business, let's see, manufacturing, computers, and human services. So a lot of finding resources for teachers to connect them with businesses, getting the students out on field trips. If our plan, we've got one started this year where we have a cohort of students that are, they've kind of identified an area of interest, and then we will have them group together for a semester class each semester in our manufacturing. And then those kids will be, we kind of all, not to say that we're going to do something like special, kind of like we're doing something special, but we're going to be, the point is to give them even more exploratory options and getting them out to training centers. We're just kind of starting small, and then we're going to kind of add that to each, like then we'll probably add one to the human services area. And eventually we've talked about doing sort of they don't have to declare a major, but like maybe identify an area and then taking classes in that area so that they can have experiences and, do an internship or, IRC or whatever it is that, goes along with that career area. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have you scroll down. The next one is, it's a video, so I'm not going to have you watch it, but it's just kind of it goes through and explains it's our advertisement, I guess, for Discover You. So if you want to see what the district put together for that. And then this is really helpful. This is something new we did this year, and we hope to grow on this. This was in the past, we just had a career director, or like a course directory, and so all the courses were listed and, you know, descriptions and everything. And so instead of doing that, we've improved it a lot by identifying 5 service areas, is what we call those career, kind of a combination of career clusters. We've kind of put it into 5 groups that our courses go into, and then students can pick courses based on those service areas, knowing what courses they might need for, you know, if I'm going to be a nurse, what are some courses you might want to take for that career area? And then it also links them to possible internships, possible IRCs, you know, going to DMAC. Eventually we want to add like what kind of volunteer opportunities and clubs and CTSOs and anything else we can, you know, kind of giving them some options as far as possible experiences that'll, you know, allow them to get into it a little more deeply. So that's our course selection. And that's also helped a lot because we do all our course selection in our connections, our advisory time. And I think it's helped teachers with, instead of kids just saying, I have to take 4 years of this and 3 years of that and everything, they're saying, you know, I have to take 4 years of English, but what kind of English would help me the best in order to, you know, go to college or, you know, to become a teacher or whatever it is, the career area. So it gives teachers more information to help guide students and families for sure. It helps a lot. And then it also gives things like career information about that service area too, kind of what jobs are in the area that fit into those service areas. Let's see. I made a note here about, oh, I know why I brought it up here. The course selection. So we have we'll have a special section on, we got a new website for our district. So it's really great. And the next piece that's going to open, they hope soon, will be our career connected learning piece. So our course directory will be out there, and then it's going to be a place for all of the information about career connected learning to live, and all the activities and all the, you know, there'll be like a short quiz for students to take to kind of identify a service area beyond what they do on Zello, of course. There's a link, our DCAT plan will be listed there, work-based learning opportunities like our future ready, all of those, you know, life, career and college ready information, all of it will kind of live in one place, and we can kind of, it'll be a good way for everyone to see how all those are related. They're not just things happening all by themselves along the way. Okay, I think the next one. So this is what we have at the high school, at Urbandale High School. These are courses that relate to career connected learning and different activities that are within courses that all students have access to. So we have everything from like our exploring careers, succeeding in the world of work. We have IJAG, Iowa's Jobs for America's Graduates. We have our Learn to Soar, which is our, we have a project-based learning course that students can do right now. This is the first time we've had this course, and we just got the teacher that I was just talking about is teaching that course for the first time. We have a couple of sections each semester, and students right now are working on, they're planning a tall and small dance for our Urbandale Alumni Foundation. So they're doing that. And then another group is doing also for our Urbandale Alumni Foundation, they're planning a life after high school event. So we started off with, you know, just one organization, but eventually, you know, we'll kind of branch out to other groups and businesses to work on projects. Things like, you know, maybe we'll work with LifeServe and have a blood drive, or different businesses. There's a local business we've talked about like doing something with their recycling program. So it's just right now we're just starting off with one, just kind of keep it smaller and more manageable. But so far that seems to be going really well. The sort of work course, is our internship program. So we have a business internship program, and then we have a teacher academy that also does an internship. And then this sort of work is geared more towards careers that typically we haven't had internships in the past. So maybe more like medical field or like a vocational trade program. So we wanted to get more of a variety of different options for students to be able to get out and actually do internships. So first semester, they are doing a course where they're kind of preparing them to do it. And then second semester, they do an internship. So we've added industry recognized credentials to our courses. We've had a number of them in the past, but adding like precision measurement, I don't know, I can't talk now. And some of the computer classes, I know we're going to be adding some more. We kind of try to at least add a few every year, but that's kind of where we're at right now. We added a quality pre-apprenticeship this year. Eventually, we hope to get some apprenticeship started. We kind of went from really nothing last year, so we've got one started now. So it's kind of a slow going, but and then we have lots of internships and field experiences that students are doing. So I feel like that's good for that slide. I kind of included some things in here that are helpful for people to see who aren't necessarily like know a ton about work-based learning, or why, you get the question like, why are we doing this? This is kind of the why, as far as, students that are in these experiences, it's more likely that they're going to find a career that they enjoy to do. If we have these experiences and kids have a plan leaving high school, I won't, as a counselor, which was what I was before I did this, we'd have instances where kids would come back and say, I went to college for a year and did, engineering, just throwing that out there. And it wasn't what I thought it was at all. And so they spent a whole year at college spending all that money and time, and they didn't like it at all. Had they taken like our intro to engineering and design class and done some, we do lots of like guest speakers, and we have kids go on trips, and we go to the DMAC engineering day, all those things, had they had that opportunity and kind of planned for that, probably would have figured it out before they actually started at, college. But that's kind of the point, is we want to give students the option to do these things before they graduate. And whether they like it or not, I think both are just as valuable, whether they end up loving something and want to do it. And if they don't, then they've found that out too. So schools makes more relevant. So like what we're trying to do too is incorporate like our employability skills into our curriculum. So like, for example, I just met with the business department. They've got employability skills, employability goals for the year. So even though none of them teach the same class, they're going to work together to have goals and then do activities and measure those goals for the year. The same thing is the plan would be for the same thing to happen in every career area. I know we've already got some, like especially in our CTE areas, that's already happening, but that's something else that, not just careers, but the skills that kids need to have to get into those careers. Let's see. I think the third bullet, I went from like the very first few times that I talked to businesses feeling like I was, like I needed to juggle and like tell jokes and perform, like trying to get there, like, please take our kids, to like now. I think it's been really great talking with businesses and people, because I've changed how that kind of, I don't want to say spiel, but kind of that conversation is different now, just because our high school students are really, they're our future, they're our resources. We want them to stay in our community. We want them to be successful. It only helps everybody in our community when they're, they have jobs that they're good at and they love. So teaching them these skills now and making these connections now are just as important to businesses as to the students themselves. And And if businesses see that they're making these relationships when the kids are young, you know, the odds are if they do an internship, it's something that is successful, they go to college, they come back, the odds are better that they're going to come back if they actually have kind of a place or a relationship already with the business. So instead of it being like please take our kids, you know, this is going to benefit you. Like that's the piece that it's more than just benefiting the kids, it's benefiting the employers too. And I feel like employers are seeing that more and more, like the conversations I have with people. Probably the only struggle I still feel like we have a lot with, like the vocational areas, just because of the age thing. So that's the one thing I wish there were more opportunities for kids in that area. But I mean, hopefully that's something that that will change, and we can work together and figure that out. But just saying, oh, and then just more of the information about the community. They're more likely to stay. We have another thing that we do, that we collaborate with the city of Urbandale and Urbandale Economic Development in the city. They collaborate with us. The city is really the kind of the driving force, but we have a career con that we do in 11th grade. So all of our 11th graders, they pick career areas, and then they get assigned a speaker in at least one of them. And then the speakers come and they do some sort of activity, and they talk to them about their career and kind of their story, and talk to them about what it is that they love about their job. And, you know, a lot of it is trying to make kids realize that there are a lot of good jobs in Urbandale, and you don't have to leave in order to do the job that you might want to do. Some of it is just, we have a lot of businesses that people just aren't aware of. And so that's the big piece about CareerCon, is just trying to make kids aware of what is in our city. All right. I think that's it for that one. And this is one I use when I talk to like groups. So that's why it's not exactly this audience, but this is information that I share with them about, you know, how businesses and how the community can get involved. You know, just talking, getting contacts. These are things that I would tell you to do if you were trying to grow your program, is to talk to people about career connected learning. I mean, even, you know, I'll go out to appointments like the doctor or whatever, and even then I'll have conversations about like, hey, how did you, you know, get your job, and where did you go to school? And, you know, every conversation, no, I shouldn't say every, a lot of the conversations I have are those kinds of things come up, and people are always seem to want to share, but just finding the connections between people that you know in careers. And, you know, if you're working at a school, like I have teachers that will tell me, oh, I know so-and-so at this business, would you like to have me call that, you know, connect you guys? And I'll be like, sure, you know. So it's just making connections as much as you can, sharing my information with people, speaking. So like I've spoken at the school board a lot, but like our Rotary Club and different events. I go to the chamber meetings. I go to the chamber like get-togethers, like that they have usually once a month. Getting people into your advisory program. So last year I put out a survey, really quick survey, to get some information about who was interested in, who would want to like do job shadows, or who would like to come and speak to classes. And one of them was, you know, to come in and be a part of the advisory team. And I just sent that out to like parents, and I had way more parents wanting to do it than I could possibly pick. So I feel like people are definitely out there that want to help. It's just making the connection. Let's see. Connecting. Oh, a lot of what I do too is just connecting teachers and businesses. So like, you know, the union, or we have like our advisory. We have RCS Millwork is on our advisory. Betsy from RCS Millwork is on our advisory team. And so connecting, like somebody, we talked about this, and our plan this year is to have like the students, they'll be working on projects and having people from industry come in and like grade their projects and look at talk to them about how they use those skills in their actual jobs and things. So we want to do more of the project-based learning in the actual classes. So that's just an example for manufacturing, but you know, we've got our goal would be it not just be in CTE, but in all areas too. Let's see. I think that's it for that slide. Okay. So if I could go back and tell myself this, what I know now last year, these would be the big things that I would tell someone trying to grow their program, to visit other programs, because I bet probably 75 to 80% of what we're doing, those ideas, a lot of it came from other schools that I went to visit, and they've just there's lots of great ideas out there, and you just kind of have to figure out what pieces work for your program. Everyone is a resource. Like, I kind of look at everything a little differently now when I'm like reading through my emails. I read through too many junk emails, but every once in a while you'll find some resource or something that you just kind of, normally I would have just deleted it, but I use a lot of like looking through the newspaper, the business record, like resources, just finding connections to the things that our students are learning. Making sure you PLC with people that you're passionate, that are also passionate with about work-based learning. So people like counselors, IJAG 4+, we have our, like I said, we have our work-based learning teacher. When I started, I was kind of like, I don't have anybody to really bounce ideas off of. So, you know, I went to other schools and talked with them, but also you kind of find people that, you know, are interested in getting more career connected learning in their classes, or like our IJAG person and our 4+ person, they're like career connected learning people too. So that's helped. I would say collecting data. So make sure you have, you know what kids are interested in and what your community needs are. And going back to what Kale said, I would say definitely try to make sure that you're part of the DCAP team and that you know what your DCAP is, because that's a huge part of what is leading what we're doing here at Urbandale. So, and then finally, I said, don't reinvent the wheel. So, you know, go out and talk with people, see what other schools are doing. I'm trying to think what else. Just lost my train of thought. Don't reinvent the wheel. Get ideas from other schools. Like, we're gonna collaborate with other schools on things. So we were lucky enough to have the metro schools invite us to their professionalism day this week. So we're excited. This is the first time that Urbandale's gotten to be a part of that. So things like that, instead of, you know, having our own, doing the same thing, they're including us in their day. So things like that, being able to collaborate with other schools to get some of these things done, instead of, I feel like right now, so much of it is every school does something different, when we could all kind of work together to figure out what is things that would benefit all of us. So yeah, I think that is it.
Thank you, Darlene.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I will share, like I had mentioned before, these slides will also be shared with the recording. So all of the resources, video, contact information will be on those resources shared later on. So I'm going to hand it over to Josie to talk about their programs at Holmes Murphy.
Perfect. So, Darlene, I think it was meant to be, because one of our programs I'm going to be talking about is also called Discover You. So I think it's perfect how this all lined up. So I'm on our talent acquisition team at Holmes Murphy and have really been able to oversee all of our early talent programs. So just really going to be able to start just talking about what our programs are and really some of those success stories and why I feel like we're having the success of building the pipeline. And then just talking about some of those key things that we use in terms of advertising and talking about our programs to our students. And I'll hopefully be able to leave about 5-ish minutes or so to go into some Q&A and wrapping up here as well. So on this first slide that you'll see here, we have 3 programs that fit under our early talent buckets. So Discover You is for high school students, kind of a play on, you'll see on the next slide when I get there, our purpose statement. It's all about your unique potential at Holmes Murphy. So Discover You is really just about discovering what you're interested in. So high school students around the Des Moines metro area, in our Minneapolis office, are able to come to Holmes Murphy for a week during the summer and explore potential career opportunities. I can probably say if I go to a classroom, the amount of students who raise their hand to say yes, they're interested in insurance is either 0 or maybe 1 student. And so we recognize that, but want to give them still the opportunity to see, okay, this is kind of a cool opportunity you have to see what an insurance company looks like, a brokerage specifically, but then how marketing can be similar but very different through a variety of different industries. So really the chance for them to discover what they like and don't like. Our internship program is geared towards college students. So that summer formalized program, coming in and learning about, okay, I'm going to be a sales intern, client service, talent and culture, have that time and dedication, but also have time to see really what else is out there, building upon that high school program that we've had. The Discover You program is just a few years old, but this summer's internship program, we had 5 students who started as Discover You students. So our goal is always to build that pipeline all the way through our Brainery program. Brainery is typically geared for postgraduate. So kind of the candidates or the students that are typically part of that program. Most of the time it's their first job out of college, maybe 1 to 2 years in the workforce, maybe a first job in insurance altogether. And it's an enhanced onboarding experience for them to be able to learn the world of insurance. A lot of schools don't teach insurance. It's becoming more and more popular. More programs are becoming available for students, but really teaching them the foundations so they're set up for success as they begin their full-time careers. And with these programs all across different offices, and it's really a partnership between our talent acquisition team and our growth and development team, where they're creating a lot of the curriculum and learning opportunities and those goals. And then our talent acquisition team is responsible for that full cycle recruiting. So just a lot of building upon each other here. And I always think it's fun with our internship program. 3 of our 6 executives started off as interns at Holmes Murphy. So really being able to see the buy-in from our executives really helps to make these programs stand out. And typically that success trickles in because they see, oh, maybe I could be the CEO one day because our CEO started off here. Our next slide that you'll see just kind of talks a little bit more about who we are at Holmes Murphy. And I think the key with these pieces that you see on the slide is all of our learning goals and objectives for each of those programs tie back to our purpose, our mission, and our care code. So the purpose there, I talked about that, your unique potential. That's something that's really important to all of us at Holmes Murphy is how we're unique. What are our unique thoughts that we're bringing? And our mission, having those key elements that really tie back to what we do as a business. But then the care code is really how we operate. So wanting to have our students be curious, operate courageously by doing the right thing, connecting with others, building them up, and all about leading differently. That's something that we really look for in all candidates is how are you leading? Are you part of clubs and organizations? In high school? What are you doing in addition to the classes that you're taking? So all of these really are built into the curriculum that we have for all 3 of those programs. The last slide here that I'll talk about is just more about bringing in the talent. And so the first few bullet points up top is just more about those programs and the goals with them. So that career exploration is really the main goal for Discover U. We know that it's going to be juniors or seniors in high school, and we know that it's also totally fine if they don't even know what they want to do going into the program. By the end of that week, our goal for them is that they know, here's one thing I really liked, one thing maybe I didn't like so much, and having the opportunity to kind of practice and see, okay, is this a job that I would like? And the fan favorite from this past year was our marketing department came in and they had to create their own brand, create a product, how they would pitch it. And every single student I talked to this year said that was their absolute favorite session. So I think we have a lot of future marketeers within our high school students right now. Our internship program, day in the life exposure is a big part of it. Really seeing if I want to pursue this career, this is what my day could look like. So they do a lot of job shadowing. For example, our sales interns go out to those client meetings with our client executives and those producers who are actually selling, maintaining those client relationships. They get to help with prospecting, see what we do on the back end with our systems, how the relationship works with our client service team. So they're given real meaningful projects and truly have that opportunity to see, is this something that I would want to do after I graduate? That Brainery program, as I mentioned earlier, all about that enhanced connection and learning opportunity. What's the foundational pieces? What are the foundational pieces I need to know to do well in insurance? Helping prepare them for licensing. That's a lot of the roles that they're going into require insurance licenses. So helping them prepare for those exams. They're already in their full-time jobs and just have this on top of that, where they have that chance to build those relationships with their peers. And then just some of the goals that I've kind of talked about and kind of, I think, some of our key success factors as well is that strong pipeline. Like I talked about at the beginning, the three programs really are building on each other. And so we want to stay connected with those students who are from Discover U to see when they're eligible for our internship program, if they'd be interested. Keep them coming back year over year. This past summer, with our June start dates for our Brainery program, we had 5 students who started full-time who had done at least 2 or 3 years of an internship with us. So we want to keep them connected, keep coming back and building upon really their learning opportunities. And that goes to those strong relationships in the communities. So those schools that we have relationships with, both at high school and college levels, continuing to build up and really just build that trust of a student's going to have a positive internship experience or job shadow experience when they come to Holmes Murphy. The other really big piece of it that I think generates that excitement is sharing our story and being able to firsthand experience our culture. I think it's something where culture is a word that a lot of students gravitate towards, of that being something that's important to them, wanting to enjoy where they're working, the coworkers they have, and being able to experience our culture firsthand through a conversation with one of our employees really starts to build and generate that excitement, and something that I really feel like helps us win with that talent as well. I talked about those program goals and learning objectives tying back to those purpose, mission, and vision or care code there. That's really the key piece, and encourage any employers who are on the phone here today, take a look at what those learning goals and objectives are that you have for your program and how they tie back to those. Or if they don't, maybe consider looking at how you can tie all of those together. I truly think that really builds that connection, and a student can see, okay, this is how everything is connected at Holmes Murphy. And just a couple other statistics I just wanted to share here too, tying back to kind of the success of our program and how we kind of build those and maintain those relationships with our students. Over the past few years, our engagement rate with students after their internship, whether that be coming back for another summer or for a full-time opportunity, has been in the range of 60 to 70%. So we're finding the right talent at the beginning and staying engaged with them. There's always going to be students who figure out, you know what, this was not for me, and that's completely okay, but still giving them that opportunity to learn. And our typical offer acceptance rate within the past few years as well has been around 80 to 90%. So the students really see that alignment, feel that this is where they want to be. Typically, we always see a smaller drop on the returning intern side because they're encouraged a lot of times to try something new, see what else is out there. And we want them to make sure that Holmes Murphy is right for them and want to make sure they're making the right opportunity for themselves as well. So everything really just tying back to job shadow, hands-on work, and ensuring that we're making that the best experience that they can to figure out what they like, don't like, and set them up for success. Okay, Abby, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Josie. And I'm just going to quickly make sure. I don't think I haven't seen any questions pop up in the chat. So if we have any of those right now, please drop them in the chat and we can see if Kale, Jody, Darlene, or Josie have a response. Okay, so otherwise, I just want to thank our panelists, for their sharing their valuable insights today, and thank all of you for joining us. A couple of other additional things to mention as I get my slides to advance. We do have some upcoming events, both IWD and Department of Education. So we will be hosting office hours in conjunction with these webinars moving forward. So just an informal opportunity to ask questions, share resources, and just work potentially with others on work-based learning. So we'd love to see you there. Again, I will share out this link, and you have to pre-register. You can register at the time of the event. So you can come and go, but just know there will be someone there during that 12 to 1 hour. So we're going to kind of test the waters and see how that time works for both employers and educators, and hope for a high turnout. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is that there is another webinar coming up in October. That webinar will talk about growing high school internship programs. Right now we have employers from advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and construction that will all be sharing those internship opportunities and offer some guidance on creation of those exciting opportunities and programs for students. Again, the link to register will be shared out with with these slides. Contact information. So a ton of individuals, both with IWD and Department of Education, that are here and ready and willing to help. So all of our contacts are listed. Again, Jody, thank you for introducing yourself, and excited to connect in the future. So I also wanted to list a couple of resources on both of our websites. Again, a lot of different tools and helpful resources you will be able to find there. And again, I just thank our panelists. And as you can see, work-based learning truly depends on collaboration between educators and employers. One can't happen without the other. So by working together, I truly believe we can create these stronger pathways for our students and ensure Iowa's workforce continues to thrive. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. And yes, we'll see you in October or Thursday. Bye, everyone.